Flex Luther, Morgan Snicker Room. So much soul about to bust out the room. All different flavors, way more than 32. From these shoes, you can't mess with these dudes. Nike Reeboks, about soccer knees. Golden Goose is on dude.
What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Soul Brothers, hosted by yours truly, Flex Luther, and none other than Morgan Snicker Room. And today, guys, we are blessed with a guest, Mr. SockJig. What's up? What's new? And how you feeling, my guy?
Doing pretty good. How are you guys?
We're here. I'm here.
Doing good, man. We're happy to have you on the podcast for sure.
Oh, thanks.
Absolutely. Morgan, you've been having a great couple weeks, man. I'm
What
a
you
little
mean?
jealous. Every time you come on here, you're just super happy. I don't like it. I don't like it. The last few
Look,
weeks, you've been super hyping. You're just ready. I don't like it.
yeah, I mean, I got done teaching tennis, like literally just walked in the door. I mean, as we were getting ready to start recording, I was adjusting all my things.
He's
literally
glowing
just
from the
walked.
tennis.
Yeah, going from my allergies are also killing me right now. So I got my hanky right here. I'm a hanky guy. So yeah. Why are you not happy? Are you still looking for a job?
I love it. I have the luxury of just relaxing right now. I'm taking me a little 2-month break, and I'm just chilling, man. You know, making content and buying shoes.
If you call it a sabbatical, people would take you more seriously.
Nah. So Mr. SockJig, long time we've been wanting to get you on, man. We were talking earlier, and I was surprised to learn that you've been listening to us since episode 5 or 6, I believe. Yeah, just I ain't gonna lie, I was a little shell shocked just because, like, I feel like your podcast is just top tier quality. So I was like, yeah, he's probably not gonna throw an ear to ours.
I'm not even joking. I probably listen to like most sneaker podcasts, probably like 90% of them. You know, there's some that are probably have fallen off just because they don't post as often. And so, yeah, no, I definitely listen to, and I often get inspiration from other podcasts too. And that doesn't mean I'm stealing their ideas or takes or anything. It might mean, oh, I like that format. I like that segment. I like that idea. And so, you know, maybe I should do a better job of reaching out and actually giving these compliments to the people. But yeah, I've been listening since early on. I missed probably the first few episodes. And then I you know, they're still marked as like to listen on my podcast app. But you know how it is when it's like from last year or whatever, you just forget about it. So
yeah,
eventually I will get around to it, I think.
Yeah, those first few episodes, I'll be honest with you, it's all been a blur, and I don't remember those first few episodes, or even if they're worth listening to. Do we have any guests on in those first 4, Flex, or was it like just us?
The first episode was no, I think we didn't have a guest until episode 10. Kari was our first guest, episode 10.
Kari, that's right. Okay.
So it was 10 episodes in before.
So we were just. I mean, was it good?
Learning.
We were learning. I think that's the best way to put it. That we were learning in those first few episodes for sure.
Yeah. And I always tell people, it's like you can go down this wormhole of buying all the gear and all the lighting and everything, but really, you're probably better off spending that time thinking about the content and what you want to do. And some basic mic will probably be just as good as the $400 Shure microphone.
I can tell you. So my microphone setup. This is actually new. And I had a gift card to Amazon from the tennis team, and you know, so I went ahead and got a boom mic. But my first mic came from Flex, and I got the package in, and I said, "Yo, like, I think somebody sent me a mic, man." He was like, "Yeah, it was me. Like, we gotta get to work." so I was perfectly fine doing you know, setting the phone up, setting the camera up, and just winging it, you know. So yeah, I agree. It's all about, you know, your skills as a talker, right? Rather than the I mean, we're using a free app, right, to record this on. So
it's not free.
It's not
just
free.
Don't pay for it. No.
I was paying. I had
my bad.
Like a year for Riverside, and I only just recently gave it up.
Oh, really?
Yeah, bro, it's not free. I'm glad you feel that way, because I'm definitely paying for it.
Oh, my bad. Well, I appreciate you. Shout out Flex for paying for the software. Shout out Flex paying for the software. So SockJig,
Oh,
man, a lot of our audience is from TikTok, right? And if I understand correctly, you are mostly on Twitter or X, right?
Yeah, like I think everyone has like their platform of choice,
Yeah.
right? I know you guys have been talking about migrating from TikTok to Instagram and stuff like that, and
hmm
my whole thing has just been takes and jokes and like short
mm-hmm.
tweets, right? That's all I
Yeah.
started out like 4 or
Yeah.
5 years ago, even before 2017 is probably when I went from my personal account where I was bothering coworkers with my sneaker takes that they didn't understand, and I was like,
Yeah.
let me just make my own kind of sneaker account. And
Right.
at the time, I was like, I'm gonna start a blog, right?
Uh-huh.
Right, which sounds so dated now, but I was like, I'm gonna start writing, and I'm like, there's a certain level of writing that I'm not seeing out there, so let me eventually create it. And
Yeah.
then eventually, I was like, let me just write tweets out and jokes out. So that's all it came from, and is my platform of choice. Yeah.
Yeah. So kind of introduce yourself to the audience who may not know who you are. And kind of tell us about like what's your style. What is a SockJig take that kind of best identifies you?
Oh, sure. Well, that is sort of my superhero origin story of like
Uh-huh.
just bothering my coworkers, and I was tired of seeing like Trump tweets all over the time. When he just got elected, and it
Yeah.
was like every comedian I followed was just going insane about Donald Trump.
Right.
So in a way, he's responsible for my origin story of just creating a new account and then
Yeah.
only following sneaker people on there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the name, I just picked a name. I was like, a sock jig is when you're buying online, you would add socks to your cart. You would prime your cart with the socks,
Uh-huh.
and then you would kind of bookmark all those steps along the way.
Mhm.
And then when the sneaker released at midnight, as it used to do, you would just add the sneaker, and you already had the bookmark links, and you would just click the cart link, and it would often skip queues and things like that, and you could check out right away. So it was just a
Yeah.
way to kind of save a few steps. And
Mhm.
these kind of hacks and tips and online stuff I already knew from like early from 2012 on, from buying sneakers online to
Right.
2017 before. So that's the origin of the name. The name is kind of dated now because all that stuff doesn't really exist as much now. Like
Yeah.
a hyped release at midnight or even at 10 a.m. Like,
Yeah.
it's so rare that I'm getting up in the morning for a sneakers app anymore. So I joke that I'm a relic with an old name, with a dated name from a bygone era almost.
Yeah. Well, the internet moves fast, man. I mean, like you say that your name is a relic now. What? How many years later? 7 years later. So
Right.
the internet moves in incredibly fast.
Yeah.
Before we get too far into it, I always forget this part.
Well,
I know. What did you wear today? We gotta do our first segment. Flex, you want to go first? What did you wear today?
yeah, I started out again just chilling at the crib. Did go out a little bit, but I went with the Penny 5 Memphis Tigers. Decent pair. I'm a fan of the pattern, a fan of just the silhouette overall. I did want to get the red pair. It's kind of like the same pattern, follows the same design. Wasn't
stripes
able to get it.
underneath is awesome on that shoe.
Yeah.
Do you know
But
where
yeah,
Penny Hardaway went to high school, Flex?
because it's inspired by the red pair. The red
The
red something.
Red Eagles
Red-
or something like that.
Yeah, Red Eagles is somewhere. I know the mascot is Red Eagles.
Yeah, apparently, as you know, SockJig, if you listen, you've
I
been
listened
listening
to
for
that
a while.
episode. I could remember. I was like Lower Meridian or whatever. But
Yeah,
that's like,
right.
that's Coconut or
We
something.
got blasted for not knowing right off the top of our heads where Penny Hardaway went to high school. We got absolutely blasted, and it's like, all right, let's pick our battles, guys. I went to brunch today, so my fiance is she's on spring break, and so she just be hanging around the house. She's a teacher. She's a teacher, and so she's on spring break right now. And so we went to brunch, and I wore the Hal Studios or Highs and Lows. Joe 1130. I think it's a Joe 1130, and now I'm tripping. In the forest, in the forest colorway. Absolutely love this. I still need the glacier pair. I forgot about that. The glacier pair, and then the other one, the first one that came out. I still need both of those, but yeah, really, really cool shoe. Kind of basic. Got my favorite colors of like green and brown, and it's October now, so we're trying to be more earthy and stuff like that. So this is what I wore today. All right, SockJig. Let's see it.
Sorry, I didn't actually bring. I brought my showcase shoe. I didn't bring the one that I wore, but
all good.
Today I wore the Adidas Song for the Mute Shadow Turf. That's my favorite GR. It's kind of a GR. I guess it's a club, but not really a GR. But that's my favorite shoe of the summer so far. It's so easy to put on. It looks fire. It looks great.
Yeah.
With Adidas track pants, or I was wearing Adidas soccer top today, so I wore the Adidas shoes.
Yeah, love it. What's your go-to brand? Do you have one?
Oh, lately it's just been my favorite sneaker for the last year has been the 990 V6, the New Balance 990 V6.
I try to tell people.
Yeah.
Try to tell people on TikTok when we first got those pictures of Teddy Santis like holding the shoe like a year before it dropped. I was like, oh yeah, these are gonna be incredible.
Yeah,
and they are.
I didn't care for the gray one per se, so I don't have the gray one. And then I got the Action Bronson Baklava one, and then that one, the multicolor one. And I was like, oh, I'm just gonna quick flip this. I don't care about this shoe. And then I saw it, I tried it on, and I was like, it was like, wait a second, everything changed.
Yeah,
that's my most worn shoe last year. I went to Japan earlier this year, and I wore that every day, everywhere there. So that is my. So I wear the Joe Freshgoods version as well too. So it's my favorite shoe the last little while.
I can tell you, Flex does not like that shoe. Flex does not like the Action Bronson pair. He doesn't like the first pair. How do you feel about the blue pair?
That's the pair I like. That's the one that if I was gonna buy, it'll be that one. Which I might get that later on.
I get it with loud shoes, like these Nigo Air Force 3s. You might see this loud shoe with a lot of colors and be like, you're either instantly repulsed or you're instantly like, that's my jam right there, right? So,
yeah.
If someone has told me, your shoe's fucking ugly, I'm like, I got it.
Yeah. I got the Nigos up. They're supposed to come in tomorrow, I believe.
Are you ended up hitting on them?
Huh?
You ended up hitting on them?
What?
Oh, that's right. You did. My bad. You did tell me you hit on them.
Yeah. I got two pairs. I got two pairs. I really don't want to consider like I'm becoming a reseller. It's just like an experiment, just kind of a social experiment. I just really want to see what the community's like, build some bridges, and just get some like insight, just some insider information on like reselling and really to answer my question, can a sneakerhead be a reseller?
Yeah, no, I can honestly answer for this. It's like for myself, I used to keep a spreadsheet of like, these are how many sneakers I bought this year and how much I paid, right? And then at the bottom of the list one year, it was like $9,000 or something crazy like that. And I was like, that doesn't seem like a good idea to be spending that much money on sneakers per year, right?
Yeah.
And so then I just opened a new tab in there and like, okay, let me sell some of these off. And so then the next year I kind of balanced it. Like I only spent like probably still over. I probably spent $2,000 instead of $9,000. And then there was one year where I really did not spend a dime on any sneaker, and so it really was. And like it was a little bit easier to get sneakers online in 2017 to 2021 or so, right? It was kind of like this golden age. And I'm not even talking about botting because I don't bot. My name comes from like manual buying online, and so that's all it was, right? And so I never got like 10 pairs show up to my house. I if there was a shoe like I said, the Action Bronson one, if I did not like that shoe, I would sell it. It would sell for $500, say, and I would use that money to go buy a shoe I did like. So I'm personally fine with it. I don't particularly believe, I have this old head take that you need to have these set rules and
hmm
definitions of what it is to be a sneakerhead, to be in the community, to buy sneakers, to sell sneakers, or even follow any old head rules, really. So it's like, uh, I don't mean to be as make just do you sounds like so dumb, but it really is just kind of do what you like is fine, right?
Yeah.
Like a
I
live
mean,
and let
but
live.
yeah, but like to me, like my personal opinion, like I wouldn't even consider that like a reseller because I mean I've done that before. Like if I don't wear a pair at all and it's just sitting there, I just sell it because I know there's someone out there that wants it that's gonna actually wear it. Like when I speak on reselling, I mean like full blown like this is your livelihood. Like you're
Yeah,
reselling to
like
move
scaling up to
forward.
that. That
Yeah, yeah.
I hate to break it to you, Flex. You're kind of like late on this. It's kind of like all over now.
Oh yeah, yeah, not that, but that's why I'm starting it because I'm trying to find where we can build these bridges and just make where we can find a common ground, so we can just stop the whole reseller doesn't like sneakerhead don't like resellers, just kind
I,
of
I mean, I feel like in the
kumbaya.
last year, I feel like in the last year, the resellers are starting to have to get real jobs. I
Yeah,
mean,
no, I see it too. Some have moved on to tech, especially the botter
Mm-hmm.
types, and that's
mhm,
what they were probably should have been doing the whole time, and they probably were
yeah,
in like computer science or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
But yeah, no, there should be a look in the mirror moment of, do I want to be sniffing cardboard dust all the day in a warehouse somewhere, or do I want to go have like a career?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
reselling never to me it never seemed like a feasible long-term option. And like a lot of these kids are, I mean, they're in their 20s, right? They're college age kids. And this is where I have to be a little bit more lenient and a little more
They pulled themselves out of the mud, out of that
pay
Connecticut mud.
yeah, yeah, right. Up by their bootstraps, right? With their parents' credit card.
Yeah.
Um But I have to be a little bit more lenient or a little bit more empathetic, I guess, because they are college age kids and um, they have to figure out, you know, a way to make money. And they did it through sneakers. Now, is it going to carry you into your 30s and 40s and 50s where we still have to work? Like, no, you're just kind of
Mhm.
you're delaying the inevitable of like, I'm gonna sound like such an old man, but like
Yeah.
Mhm.
going and getting a job.
Like,
Yeah.
I know, like, I have friends with a lot of them. There are really smart people in that group,
hmm
right?
Mhm.
And you're not gonna, a smart person's not just gonna be sitting in an empty warehouse, like looking at the empty cardboard around. They're gonna go
Right.
out and do something with it, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, I knew I hit my unk stage when I was sitting there thinking, I'm like, you know what? They don't have insurance. They don't got 401k. I'm
Yeah.
like, bro, you gonna need that because I'm once I left my job, I realized that I would have to pay for insurance out of my pocket.
It's expensive, brother.
Right.
Yeah, I won't be doing reseller. Will not be a full-time career unless I'm under some umbrella that provides me with healthcare and dental insurance and a 401k and all that great stuff. Cause nah, I mean, it just
There's
nah.
just no way to, especially now, like I was saying, but in that golden age, like you could scale up, right?
hmm
I could have one or two sneakers come to the door every single day, and that's fine with like a work from home type of job.
hmm
But
Yeah.
if you're having like hundreds of Air Force Ones show up at your house, right? Like then it's like, do you need somewhere else to be putting this stuff? And
Right.
do you have
Mm.
bots to get all this kind of stuff, right? And so, but no point. That era is kind of over now. Maybe it'll come back. Maybe Nike will go back to restricting stock in the next year or two, and it all comes back. But for now, it's fine to be in the past.
Yeah. And I'm, you bring up Nike, and it's interesting because I'm curious to see how stock numbers, not like Nike stock, but like sneaker stock numbers, how they kind of respond to the new leadership, or how the new leadership is going to um how they're going to release these sneakers. Are they going to be limited again? Are they going to be flood the market? Like I'm excited to see uh how Nike or any of these other brands, because I mean we're reselling Sauconys now, which to me is great, and also sucks. But I want to see kind of how Nike responds. Like, will the new leadership of Nike, will it bring back the reseller?
I think even under the old regime, they probably already decided this because, right now they'd be deciding on what's in 2025, 2026, right?
Right.
And so,
Yeah.
and they've already been in this big restock mode for a long time. And they've already talked about they're going to pull back the Air Force One and Dunks and stuff like that to protect the franchises, as they say, right?
Right.
So that usually means lower stock. Right. And that might mean lower stock on the GR side. Maybe that means that there's fewer GRs because sometimes you'd see like a new Dunk GR colorway every week. And maybe that means every 3 weeks now. Like, I don't know whatever the version of that is. Right. But us in the sneakerhead hype thing, that might mean a sneaker that had like 30K stock, like say some Alma Manier shoe or a Union shoe that had big stock. Maybe those go down to 5,000 or whatever the floor is. I don't even know like what the floor is, right? Like the floor could be 1,000 pairs. I don't know, right? And that ends up being $1,000 shoe or whatever. But they know the formula. They perfected the formula, and so they've just ignored the formula for so long because maybe the stock market told them you need this revenue here.
Yeah. For sure.
I mean, I think it'll be, even if like reselling becomes a thing again, I just feel like there's so many people that are trying it now that like it's such a hard field to get into now because there's so many people doing it, and even there's people doing it at a higher scale. There's people doing it I'm just trying to get by. So you got a ton of people hoarding like the outlets and releases, and
it'll always be a thing. It's never not been a thing.
Yeah.
Like New York City will always be New York City. It's a city of hustlers, right? Like you just can't tell them, not to do it. It's like if you put a bunch of beavers on the top of the Empire State Building, they're gonna start building a dam, right? So it's like that's what they know, right?
Right.
And so like that recent Flight Club release that was canceled, right? The first one they had with Air Max 1 a few months ago, like 6-7 months ago, that one went really well in New York City. Like all the resellers made money. They sold wristbands and stuff like that. And so it's like the second time they knew that first crop that knew about it went there and made money. So now we're going to show up. And so way more people are going to show up then. And so then that's what you get with the cancellation and all that.
Yeah. So, but the funny thing about that is they later on released a couple pairs with the book, but they kind of upped the price from $275 to $500. And I haven't checked recently, but like they were sitting all day yesterday. Like I was debating all day yesterday. But like, should I grab these or?
It's Nike being greedy. They're suing StockX. They're saying StockX is like the devil in court, and they're in bed with GOAT. GOAT is our official partner for this NIL program, Oregon Duck thing. It's like, come on, who do you like and who do you hate? And do you like resale or do you not like resale? And I was laughing at people are saying that they need to have raffles at Flight Club. It's like, this is Flight Club. They sell shoes for like 200% over the market value or whatever. And it's like, now you want a fair raffle from them? They don't even know what the word raffle is. Right? So I mean, I just saw today that they're gonna do a Google Doc. Like someone there had to figure out like, how the fuck do I do a raffle, right? Because it's not like anyone at Flight Club has to care about that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that is ridiculous. I never thought I'd see the day that, because it was like I remember a time when people would be like, "Yo, I got the new whatever," but I got them off Flight Club, and it was like, "Oh, like, are you okay? Like, you almost got to check in on them."
That was like the original Flex instead of the StockX tag. It was like from Flight Club.
Yeah, I've never purchased anything from Flight Club. I thought about it, but I was like, I mean, back when I really started getting into sneakers, about 2010, 2011, when I was out of high school, I was in the military, I had my own money. I never like had any desire to purchase a sneaker for more, like $300 was the absolute max that I would spend on a sneaker. And that was like, back in that time, like a Concord 11, like dead stock Concord 11, dead stock Space Jam 11s, right? Like
Everyone
you get
has a
them,
number, and it kind of goes up over time, right?
man. And you know what? That number, like, it seems like 300 is the floor now, right? Like 300
Right.
used to be my ceiling, and now it seems like
That's not bad.
truly, right? Like for these
That's not
newer
bad.
releases, man, 300 is the floor.
I think some
Yeah, it's not
Wave
bad.
Runner wasn't that like 300 or
That was 300
shipped?
retail. Yeah.
Yeah,
like it was a
300
crazy
resale.
price.
Yeah, nah, that's insane. Unfortunately, I'm not in that club of not buying from Flight Club. I let
know.
the sneaker hype get the best of me. And I just had to have those Gammas, and I bought them, and I believe it's $585 that I spent total. And yeah, they definitely was worth that at that time. I think they might be currently at 500 right now, but not at that time. I could have probably got a pair for a little over, probably like 285, 300.
Mhm.
But that was, back then.
I missed out on a lot of good sneakers because I had the same kind of limit. Like my limit might have been 400 or 500,
Mhm.
and then I remember when Fragment Jordan 1s. I remember there's one guy who had them for $700 in my size US, and I was like, I should get them. 700 is crazy, right? You convert that to Canadian for me because I'm I'm Canadian. It's like over
Mhm.
$1,000, right? Like
Yeah.
$1,000.
Yeah.
And I was like, forget it. I just kind of wrote it off. And then later, when the Union, I got the black toe one, but I didn't
Mhm.
get the storm blue one. And then I was like, those are in size 12. It was $1,000 for a long time. But now that in that size particularly is so rare that it's probably like 2,000-3,000.
Yeah.
And now there's just so many fakes out there that I'm like, I totally wrote it off. I don't even want to even try to get it.
Yeah. It's like, that why bother? Like, why bother? There's a reality where I get a fake pair and then I'm pissed off.
Yeah.
I know that feeling
Especially for
very
that
well.
price.
For
Especially
sure.
for that price.
The one exception I
Especially
made
for that
was I
price.
picked up the Mars Yard for $790.
Oh gosh.
And so I remember I even tweeted it out in like
Yeah.
2017. Hey, I think the sneaker is really rare. I think it'll be $1,000 soon. So if you want it, get it now.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
so
Yeah.
and then I just wore it because it was just like an $800 shoe, and
Uh-huh.
that was when I bumped my limit up from 500 to by 800.
Yeah.
And now then it's worth like all this money now, and it's probably
Mm.
gone way down since then. But it's like I'm at the phase where I wore it. I don't know how to sell it. I don't know if I don't want to meet someone in a park to sell it to them
Right.
either, right? Or I
Yeah.
don't want them to make me take a whole bunch of photos of it and legit check it. So I'm like, screw it. I don't care what it's worth. I'm just gonna keep wearing it. But
Yeah. I can tell you, man, like as I used to have that upper limit for sneakers, and a few years ago it was pretty high. I need to not talk so loud. Fiance might be listening. But yeah, my limit used to be pretty high, and now it's like I'm trying to find the steals, like every single steal I can. Like I've almost become ruthless on eBay, from lowballing to gaslighting to like I'll do anything I can to pay less for a sneaker, and I take a lot of pride in that. And I think that's one of the biggest evolutions for myself as a sneaker collector is, instead of bragging about how much I spent, I'm bragging about how little I spent. You know what I mean?
even even StockX, like once a month they do this 100% seller fees
Mhm.
promo. So instead of the whatever 9%, you only pay the 3% transaction fee the seller does.
Mhm.
So a shoe that a seller could sell for $100, they get like $91 back, for example, right? So
Mhm.
it's whatever the math is, it's pretty good, right?
Yeah.
So even there, some of these older reachbacks from like a year and a half ago, if you just
Yeah.
start putting in a bunch of bids for them that are,
Mhm.
they're not $30, they might be like $150 for a shoe that is going for $275 or so.
Mhm.
Sometimes people are just like looking around. I need to.
Mhm.
I
Get
have a
rid of it.
bulk shipment going. Let me take
Yeah.
this bid, and all of a sudden off.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, my thing is like somebody's rent is always due, right? Like
Always.
rent
Always.
is always
Well,
due.
that's why StockX does that promo. Rent is due.
Yeah. Rent is
Every-
due.
Everyone.
StockX even hip to it. Yeah, nah, I mean,
Yeah.
now that I've started this journey of trying to reach 500 pairs because I'm trying to catch up to Morgan. I don't know if have you seen my video,
I
Morgan?
did. Yeah, I have.
Okay, so
Your
I'm in the
content is starting to come on my my
yeah, it
FYP
seems
again.
yeah. I guess
I'm
they want me
starting
to
to see
start
it
posting
more.
again. Yeah, so
Yeah.
on my journey there, I'm definitely because obviously I'm not gonna go and spend $400 on 192 pairs of shoes. So I'm trying to get the best deal I can to reach this goal. And it seems like a lot of people are intrigued by this series, which is it's not one of like something that I want to be invested in, but from the
I'm the
feedback
opposite.
they're getting, they're like, yeah, keep it pushing. I'm like, all right,
Spend your
cool.
money. Spend your money.
I'm trying to get like less sneakers, not
Yeah.
500.
Yeah. So what is your limit? What's your upper limit of like of
I
how many you want to
I
have?
haven't counted, but I probably have over 200.
Hmm.
Right, so I didn't really go super overboard at the 500, and I always try to get rid of stuff. Like I said, I don't have any qualms about reselling a sneaker,
Hmm.
and I just sell it on the apps. I don't, like I said, I don't
Yeah.
want to meet someone. I'm not in the Facebook groups trying to sell it or anything. I just want no
Yeah.
nonsense. I don't have
I
to
feel
think
like I'm
about
too
it.
old for that. I'm too old to be
Yeah,
meeting
yeah.
people, man.
Like
Yeah.
I kind of got grandfathered into the StockX instant payout thing too. So it's
Hmm.
like I can go drop it off and it gets scanned and it gets
Mhm.
paid like the same day.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, no, that's dope. No, that's dope. Yeah, we're definitely not doing any meetups now. Resellers are getting younger, and then you pull up and it's like this minor, and you like, yeah, bro, no,
Yeah.
yeah, no. So yeah, I definitely don't
What
do
I've
that.
noticed is that the good guys and the bad guys are all wearing the shiesties now. So like I can't identify who's dangerous.
I'm crossing the street.
I know. Everybody's wearing the shiesties now.
Oh, 9 to 5, a
The
corporate
good
job, we're walking
look
out with a shiesty.
right. I'm like, bro, everybody's dangerous, bro. I'm not
Oh
man.
man,
I
that's
mean,
that
I
uncle
was
mentality.
for real. I mean, but I used to be heavy on the meetups, man. Like I lived in
Never.
Virginia, driving across the water to Norfolk or Virginia Beach or whatever from Newport News, and doing meetups like that, and just kids being out there like with their dads, right? Their parents would be out there too, or like um you go to certain places where it's like, oh, I gotta have my homeboy come with me, and it's so exhausting. I have no interest in going back to that, and that's what I really enjoyed, or I've really appreciated Go and StockX for that, like taking away that part.
Yeah.
And now eBay, and their authentication services. But I also feel like Go and StockX they're getting a little greedy, it seems like.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
hurting for money. Like I said, their rent is due as well too. And
No kidding.
yeah,
I mean,
and
StockX used to be so easy, right? Like they used to have, you used to be able to use a code to get like 20% off or free shipping or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and you could just use it as much as you wanted, and then they didn't have processing fees. Like StockX used to be the way to go, and then they started adding all these fees on,
Yeah.
and it's like, holy cow! Like, how do we get here?
StockX used to be the poison. Poison is the new StockX. Yeah, they don't have as many fees as the other reseller platforms, aftermarket platforms, but they don't have the range of sneakers as well. Also, they're fresh, so it's kind of like, should I buy from them? Should I not buy from them? I have done some work with them, but other like just buying off like personals, nah, I'm a stick to my GOAT and eBay. That's pretty much how I do it. So when we spoke earlier, Sock, we talked about how you feel about our podcast, and I was curious just because of how I view your podcast. I was just curious to see what was your feedback, because we're in what episode? This would be our
43.
Yeah, this would be 43. So yeah, we'd love to hear your feedback on that.
all right, I have some feedback. I'm going to start with the good stuff, of course.
Oh,
right?
he was ready. He was
All right,
ready.
here we
Like,
go.
oh, yeah.
I appreciate this.
Yeah. Look, one, it's awesome that you guys decided, like, Flex, you just sent him a mic. Like, you need that kind of attitude. Like, let's do this. Let's go, right? And so I really respect anyone who's taken that step and taken the time out, because I know how much I spend on a podcast. Sometimes it takes me like 2 weeks to do one episode, right? And whereas you guys can go on and record for an hour, and it can go different directions in a conversation format. So we just have different formats and stuff like that. So, but either way, it's a lot of work. So I respect anyone who's decided, you know what, let's record this. Let's do this, right? And so your guys' draw is like your guys' friendship and your guys' dynamic, right? And so you guys have that awesome dynamic. So that is the part that, you know, when you guys are promoting it, you gotta get across and build an audience with that, right? And you might do it in your platform of choice of TikTok or Instagram. And so that's all the good stuff. Some of the stuff that I found interesting, the feedback that I had is sometimes it's a lot about the actual process of sneaker content, creating sneaker content, right? And not about the sneakers as much. And, you know, I know you guys did the rankings and the collaborator list and stuff. So you guys have definitely have done the opposite too, where you don't talk about sneaker content. But when I'm listening to it, when you guys are talking about creating sneaker content, that really is for me, that like I am the audience for that part, because I do create sneaker content, right? But for the average sneakerhead listening, do they relate to some of that, right? And you know, I've been thinking a little bit about this. I think a lot of the times where the era that we're in now, this kind of influencer era, of you're kind of on the journey with everyone of what they're doing. Like you're talking about your 500 sneakers videos that you're doing, right? They're on the journey with you. So I get that sharing that content, of talking about creating content, but I'm not always sure that everyone is there for that content itself, right? Like we're here because we all like sneakers, right? So I like it when sneakers are the main focal content, and like I said, that's just my personal point of view. I'm not saying what you guys did is right or wrong or anything. Sometimes I would just like that the sneakers of the week to be talked about, the news topic of the week to be talked about, right? And you guys, like I said, you guys do that. And so for myself, I always think about like, who's my listener? What would they care about? Would they care about me? And you know, I think I've done this as well too, where I've talked about sneaker media or sneaker content, and sometimes I like then pull it back that I've done this a little bit too much. So that was my feedback, and you know, I hope it's not you know, I hope I'm not a hater.
That's devastating.
Any feedback? Hey, this guy's a hater.
Hey, let's return. I gotta return the mics. Cut the lights. I'm done.
We appreciate that, man.
For sure.
Because I'm gonna be honest with you. When we started this, there was really no plan. Like we didn't brainstorm. It was just kind of like people kept on asking us, because where we originally came from was TikTok, and it was just me and him going back and forth, me and Morgan going back and forth, and people were like, I would love for y'all guys to start a podcast. And we never talked about it, but then we start seeing that comment over and over again. I'm like, let's start a podcast. So
see what happens.
Right.
So we started a podcast, and one of the things that I wanted to do was separate, because there was a lot of podcasts that were starting at that time and that had already started. So I want to separate us from other podcasts. So that's kind of why we kind of strayed away from like your average sneaker content, like the sneaker news or the sneaker of the week, because at one time there was like everybody was talking about, guess what's coming out, guys? This is coming out on Monday, and this is coming out on Tuesday, and then this is what you should do because they're coming out. And it was just like, we didn't want to talk about it because we had seen it, because we're in real time creating content. So we're watching, scrolling, and this is what's dropping on Nike this week. This is what's dropping on Nike. This is the New Balance that's dropping it. And it was just like, we don't want to hear it. So we're like, we're not going to talk about it as much unless we have some type of substance to where we can actually hold a conversation about it. Because most of the time, you already know what's dropping Monday through Friday, because 10 other creators have told you already in a short form, you know.
No, and that is 100% valid, and I totally get that. But back to what my true point was, the star of the podcast, the show, is your guys' dynamic, right? And that's what people will latch onto and want to come back to and listen to. So if you can highlight that, accentuate that, it might be on the topics of the week, and like that was I talk about myself, my preference. I like talking about, oh, what do the people that I like to hear say about this topic, right? And it could be brief, it could be full on detailed. So those are just my thoughts on that.
Yeah,
No.
and I agree. I think, I mean, not the only, but the reason that I feel like I got so much traction on TikTok was because our tastes are so much different, right? But our humor is the same, right?
Right.
Like we can go back and forth. Like I think Flex is the only person who I don't have to worry about hurting his feelings on TikTok. Um, and I hope Flex feels the same way about me, but like, you know, like you said earlier, you're giving like truly great feedback and you know what you said, and you said it in a joking way, but like I hope that doesn't make me a hater. Like being on the internet, that's essentially what we have to be concerned about, like that any feedback that's given is perceived as hating. And with
I have
yeah,
my share of that all the time too.
yeah,
Like,
right. Yeah. And with Flex is like I could literally be hating on Flex and he still wouldn't be like, "Oh, he just being a hater. He just being a hater. Like he's gonna come back at me." And I love that dynamic that we've built. Flex is actually invited. I've never met Flex before, and he's coming to the wedding. So
And he hasn't sent me the invitation. I'm sending my
Congratulations.
address like three
I
times.
haven't even asked you that. You haven't sent me your address yet.
Yes, I did. I did.
Uh,
Like 2 times already.
he went with
when
his
you
old
send?
address. He just moved.
Oh yeah, see, you just moved. You sent me that new address?
I sent you the new one too.
Oh,
Because it was for something. I was like, yeah, and use this address for the invitation as well. But of course you didn't reply. So of course you didn't reply. But I would love, because we just got into the trenches, also known as sneaker Twitter. Um I am amazed. I am like, it takes a lot of and I do a lot. Like I do a lot. I have my personal life. I have a daughter. I was still in school at the time. I just graduated or whatever. It takes a lot of mental capacity to be on sneaker Twitter. It really does. Like I tried, putting the Soul Brothers pod within Twitter, and I kind of just post and go. Like I don't even want to have the conversation because it gets real treacherous real quick.
real what?
Real quick.
No.
Yeah, I'm not gonna repeat it. Go ahead, Sock. I'm not gonna repeat
it. Building an audience is going to be hard no matter what platform of choice, like you were saying. Like I have no clue on what to do on TikTok, and so I just stay away from it, right? And so there's you can be a slave to an algorithm, right? And like this is what the algorithm says to do, and that's one thing I've always rejected. Like I just create jokes that were funny to me, and takes that were like I thought were right, or if I called out someone or whatever in tweet format. These days I just save it for the podcast more often than try to start wars on Twitter, because like you said, you can get into all these battles all the time, right? But
yeah,
building an audience is hard. But there are people on there who are just looking to connect, just like how they are on Instagram or TikTok, right? So you can find your tribe on there. You just have to kind of go through the jungle a little bit.
Yeah, I was in a Spaces, and Kari Sneaker Fetish was in there, and I was kind of like lurking in there, and then I did like a thumbs up on something, and then he was like, "Oh yeah, Morgan, hey man, come give the TikTok perspective," and I was like, "Nah,
What?
this is not my platform." I felt like I was in the deep end. Yeah, I'm still I have these missions of trying to navigate Twitter, and then they always fail. It fails every time. It's tough.
Nah, we're definitely still active. And that's pretty much why I went to Twitter, just because they're the space. I want to hold a space as Soul Brothers Podcast, just to have some conversations that I ain't gonna say it's not really meant for a podcast, but just where everybody can chime in real time. And I feel like that's what Twitter gives you.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, it still takes a lot of mental capacity to
And honestly,
scroll and continue.
and one of my criticisms has been on Twitter or even any platform is like there are people out there that are which I've just been calling, they want to become the sneaker mayor. Like I'm holding court and everything should go through me, kind
Right.
of thing,
Mhm.
right? And they're doing it in a way where it feels disingenuous, like I'm trying to be everything to everyone.
Yeah.
And like I just want people to be themselves,
Mm-hmm.
right? Show me some personality, show me some opinions, some real takes, and we don't need a sneaker mayor, right? We don't need someone to like. I don't try to be that at all. Like I sometimes all day I will just post memes and Seinfeld jokes and Simpsons jokes, and like that's all I've done for like a week straight,
Yeah.
right? And whereas I'm not like trying to. This is the topic of the day, and I wish everyone hit this kith to drop or whatever it is, right? Like,
Yeah.
but at the same time, like I said, we're on this influencer era where you're kind of have to be on the journey with someone till they reach the top of the mountain and get the brand deal, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, I'm just on the side watching, I guess, and making dumb jokes.
But you know what? I like the side that you're on. I like because you don't have to really answer to anybody, right? Like you
Yeah,
just
and I can
right.
have and I can post a take that's very sharp and poignant, all right? And like
Mhm.
and it hits further. It hits like it I don't know how to phrase it, but like it hits the mark a little bit better because
Mhm.
I'm not kind of trying to be everything for everyone.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it is a good platform, just simply because you can have those conversations in a way that you really can't do on Instagram or YouTube or any other platform. That's why I brought our content on there. But it just needs a little structure.
No,
It
there's a
needs a little
certain
structure.
there's a certain flow to it. Sometimes it's like a fire hose, and you just turn it off
Mhm.
and don't look at it that day. And
Mhm.
sometimes it's like nothing's going on, and so yeah, I've been on it so long. Like, what's the Bane line? I'm born in the darkness. Kind of that's basically
Yeah.
me when it
Yeah.
comes
I
to
was
Twitter.
molded by it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, I hopped on. I was like, yes, yeah, it's definitely different. I mean, there's a lot of things that I could just put my input on, and like I'm just looking at, which fire should I try to, be part of.
Yeah,
That's
that's
that.
like if I tried to do an Instagram reel or TikTok, I'd be like, it'd be like the scene in Scanners where my head just explodes or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's a lot more easier on because like most of the time it's kind of like yelling in an empty room on TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram. Like you just post your opinion, and some people may join that room, but I feel like in Twitter it's kind of like someone somewhere is like listening, just waiting. Like, okay, here we go, and it's just on from there. So I just post, all right, like, hey, check out our new episode, and if someone hits me up, it is what it is. But yeah,
Video probably does really well on there. Like if you just post like a 2-minute review of
hmm
something, a sneaker that just came in, and it's like, or like a 30-second review, and you show your face, and it's like that stuff will always hit. Doesn't matter really the platform. And if you did that kind of, it'd probably be a little dated if you did it on TikTok, because you have to kind of follow
yeah,
the algorithm or whatever the algorithm wants, right? So
Yeah.
like I said, you could either follow the algorithm or you can just kind of be on the side and do what you want.
We're about 50
yeah.
minutes in. And this has been a great conversation. Makes me want to get on Twitter and start making jokes. I like Seinfeld, I can make some Seinfeld jokes.
I was fucking flex. I was like, I don't even think Morgan listens to the podcast or knows who I am, because I know he doesn't like listen to anyone else or pay attention to anyone else.
I'm
And I
so
was just bugging.
I am definitely I like to keep to myself. I'm the type of person who like I think I'm right, and if you tell me I'm wrong, come with the evidence. My background is in science. I am a biology, or I was a biology major in college. That's what my degree's in. So everything for me is like it is truth, objective truth, and or if I believe it until you prove otherwise. And um, so I don't listen to a whole lot of different voices. So that's it. Sounds I probably sound like a jerk. Do I sound like an asshole on the pod?
All the time, my friend.
No, I'm not
All
asking you. I'm not
the
asking you. SockJig, you seem like a reasonable guy. Do I sound like an asshole?
You don't sound like an asshole to me just because I've listened to so many episodes that I know where it's coming
Mm.
from.
Mm-hmm.
Where someone coming in on the first time, they might be like, well, that's a weird thing to say. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's a
Oh,
difference,
but
right?
you know, I get that in my real life too. So
Mm.
yeah, I get that in real life too.
Yeah. Nah, but it works out because Morgan's more familiar with like the earlier days of like content creation and like the earlier figures, and I'm kind of like really getting into social media and content, sneaker content. So I'm checking out all the new people. So if I come across someone that I know that's been around for a while, because I've seen their name, because I've been collecting sneakers before, I'm just like, Morgan, like who is this, and like what have they
Mhm.
done, like
Yeah.
just to get the 411.
Like
And
you guys are taking this over, right? Like the old era, it like their time is almost up, right? Like we're
mhm.
like the elves ready to leave for Valhalla or whatever it's called in Lord of the Rings, right? Like they might not know it, but
Yeah,
like I know I'm not gonna be doing this when I'm like 70 years old or whatever.
right.
Yeah.
And I've always tried not to do the old head thing of this is how it is and that's what it should be, and you
Mm.
guys are doing it all wrong, right? Everyone loves everything that they did when they had time to enjoy that stuff when they were 16 and 21,
Mhm.
right? And so you can tell how old someone is just by what they like because that's what
Mhm.
Yeah.
they that's how they were 16 or 21 at that time, right?
Yeah.
So it's like I think definitely think more at least older people in the space should be opening and more welcoming to new voices and
Mhm.
let them forge their own path.
For sure. And to be clear, it was Haas, my first kicks, who put me on to you on Twitter, uh, and gave you the stamp of approval. So I think I followed you on Twitter right after that.
Yeah. No,
I
I
don't know
always
what.
talk with him. I like I'll give him feedback on episodes,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and he's the type of guy will message everyone to like come
Mhm.
on my pod. I don't know how he does one show a week for how many years it's been. I
I
definitely
know.
cannot do that, right? So he's got that kind of mentality of um, being persistent to keep doing that, whereas I'm
Yeah.
like I can't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well,
let's go ahead. Let's get into our showcase shoe. I'm interested to see your sock jig, but
All right,
we're
it's
gonna
not.
start. We're gonna start with Flex. I know I sound like an asshole now. I'm.
You're not an asshole.
nah.
So
As I said for the past few episodes, yeah, I cut you off. For the past few episodes, I'm pretty much redoing my list. So I know you guys have seen this. For the people that's been listening for a while, I know you've
bro,
seen
the
me.
Ben Sevens again,
That
bro.
was
The Ben
last week.
Se- I know you should go bring 'em.
Space Fight Saucony. Again, another pair that I feel like if you're with the new announcement they did, with the West Side Gun collaboration coming out, Saucony's only catching more fire on. They're getting hotter and hotter every other week. So this is a pair I feel like if you're gonna really dig into Saucony as a brand, you better grab these now because once someone, an influencer or creator, get their hands on these and wear them,
Did
to the
those come
moon
out
they
this
go.
year?
No, not
This
this
came
year.
out last year.
Last
Last
year.
year.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, they came out last year.
But yeah, big
Are
fan
you
of
in
the
the
details and
Sauconys?
everything.
Sock jig? You in the Saucony?
Yeah, no.
What they're
When I used
doing?
to run, I used to wear Sauconys, and I got the Crystal Cave ones last year. Those are
Yeah.
one of my favorite sneakers last year, and
Yeah.
I even had them on my bracket that I do every year of the
Mhm.
best
Yeah.
sneakers. I think I had it like 27th or something.
Yeah.
That Omni 9 was a little snug on me in a size 12, and I don't know if they even make it in a 12.5. And so I wear it, and it's fine because I usually don't wear the same shoe like all the time every single day anyways. And so so that is one I have. I haven't had a chance to hit on the J tips and some of the more hype ones, but I like that they're going into this hype stuff again. And you
I
guys have
agree.
had the SockJig guy on, because there was this window where they almost like closed down the division, it seemed like, right?
Yeah.
Like they had like the sneaker politics and beignet ones and these burger ones for an era, and then it was seemed like they just turned the lights off and closed the door.
Yeah.
And so I'm glad they turned the lights back on and opened
Now
the
it's
door.
like Willy Wonka putting the golden tickets in the, you know, it's like, yeah. So I'll go next. It's an interesting day when Flex brings Saucony and I bring Nike.
Every time we always do it like that.
I know. I've got a new colorway of the Nike Air Thunder Max. I love this model so much. They do women's sizing, so if you do go and get a pair, make sure you pick your men's size or do the conversion from women's to men's or whatever.
Did you go up a half size in them?
So I didn't go up a half size. My range of sneakers is 10.5 to 11. I got the 11. So I've got another pair in a 10.5, but I wear them with the laces outside of the shroud and then the zipper down. Because they don't zip all the way up, and I'm not trying to break the zipper.
Wait, you got them in an 11 for women's?
11 in men, 12.5 in women's.
Okay.
Yep. I should try to go up another half size and see, like, try to get 11.5 in men's. Not really tight. It's just they don't zip up all the way. So it's interesting.
It's a women's shoe, so it's made for more slender foot, and like, you know, I got a fat foot too. So I had the CDG ones that came out like 2 years ago, and I sold them. I tried them on, and like my foot could barely fit in them, and so but those were a men's size, and I know these new ones have come up in women's size. So me being a 12.5, I would have to get to like women's 13.5 or 14. And honestly, I just haven't tried.
Yeah. I've taken some creative liberties on how to wear them to kind of make it work. Because I love the model so much. I would say this is one of my favorite models of the year. That's gotten a lot of love this year. Air Thunder. I don't even remember what the colorway is called. It's let me take a look. It is Burgundy, Crush, and Baltic Blue. I see brown, brown and blue, but yeah, Burgundy, Crush, Baltic Blue. So fire. All right, SockJig, what you got?
I actually have it. I brought it with me into this room. Okay, so this is the first. Well, not the first, but I think the first A6 gel piano that kind of put it on the map, and it might not have hit until it does now. But this is the A6 gel piano Angelo Baque, where I think it's based on Colombia flag or Ecuador flag, or maybe the flag of his country. I apologize for not knowing off the top of my head, but this is my favorite sneaker that I wore like nonstop the whole year. And like I just said, I usually don't wear the same sneaker every day, but not like last year I wore the Baklava, but the year before, this is the one sneaker I was wearing all the time, everywhere. And so I'm crediting myself, old man self, as being a trendsetter for gel piano. But that sneaker I got on sale from Livestock for like 90 Canadian, and I bought 2 pairs because they were just sitting. Now that's, you know, I think it sells for like $300-400 US. Right, but like it just shows that you can have an awesome sneaker. You can go out there like you guys were talking about and hunt for it and find it and have your sense of that is a fire sneaker. Like that Crystal Cave one last year, no one was talking about that Crystal Cave,
right? Until it's too late.
You guys might have been. There were a few people, but it everywhere I saw probably had a size run, and it wasn't at very many places. And so Excuse me. So I just bought it, and I got it on sale. That one as well, on sale as well too, right? My local place had a 25% off sale. So
Mm-hmm.
just have your sneaker sense, have what you think is good, and you can have that sense, and that's where you'll stand out, right? You don't have to, like we've been talking about, follow the wave and follow an algorithm. You can have your own sense.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Luckily,
100%.
I just hit on the Crystal Cave. They should be here Friday. Kith had a exclusive release, and I think Saucony recently restocked, but they didn't have my size, so I did hit on the Kith release that they did exclusively at Kith, and so I'm definitely excited to have those, and I'm hoping to get the Equinox, hoping to get those soon too. Did I say it right, Morgan, or is it Equinox?
It's autumnal equinox. It's all good though. It was close enough. I'm sure it's a tomato thing.
I think that's
but tomato was objectively wrong.
I think that's one of the main things that they gotta that only takes time of getting the model names and numbers out there and to be known.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know that Omni 9.
Oh yeah.
And I know the
Pro Grid,
the Grid Shadow J-Tips ones, but like very few other. I know, Morgan, you could probably name off 10 off the top of your head, right?
But
it's
taken.
It's up to them to kind of get those names and numbers out there,
I had to study. You're right. Like I can, but it's taken time to like study it and nerd out about it to be able to get to a point where I can name all those different grid SD, like yeah.
Thanks to shout out to Saucony, because now we got some help with that, because they sent us the Sneaker Freaker Saucony book with the silhouettes and styles and kind of the history behind Saucony. So shout out to Saucony for that. Definitely going to be posting some content and educating some people on the silhouettes and the Saucony history. In closing remarks, guys?
No, again, SockJig is great to have you on the podcast. I see
nice, people. He is welcoming and nice.
Just wait till the camera goes off.
Yeah, while I was running, the camera's recording. He ain't gonna.
Look, I appreciate having you on the pod and spending part of your evening with us. And yeah, please let people know where to find you. Probably just on Twitter. Right?
No, you can follow me on Twitter and on Instagram. SockJig is the at. I sell socks sometimes. You can buy some socks at shop.sockjig.com. That even all this stuff I don't know if I accidentally fell into, even the podcast. I did the opposite. I kind of built this audience on Twitter, and then I started doing all this stuff. And so, sometimes people do it in the opposite way. And so, like, when I'm talking to like Haas on my first kicks on building an audience, I'm like, I don't know what to tell you, because I did not think about brand deals or podcast episodes. I was just making like Seinfeld jokes the whole time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that was just my path. Everyone's gonna have, like we've been talking about, they're gonna have their own path, right?
Yeah. Nah.
For sure.
Yeah. Definitely appreciate you hopping on, Sock. You definitely brought a different element to the show. I feel like lots of times, like I've told you, I shared with you that, like, I feel like me and Morgan kind of start to ramble on or forget our where we're supposed to be at.
Yeah.
That's kind of honestly, that's kind of our lane. We just roll with the
punches.
We just hop on and start talking, and we keep going, and
then an hour and a half has gone by.
Yeah, you can evolve it however you want. You can keep doing that and do less structure. You can have a PTI like structure and have a rundown of like, these are the topics and we're doing 2 minutes each or whatever, right? Like it's you guys have the freedom and creativity to do whatever you want. Like I've done that on my podcast. There's an episode I did. It was called The Lost Episode from 2017. And the whole premise, like, I hate to break kayfabe here, but the whole premise was that it's an old episode I recorded as a pilot, but really I'd recorded it this year. And so basically I came up with a premise, and I was like, I just wrote down 10 jokes immediately what that premise. I was like, Kanye's are like Yeezys are everywhere. This thing is going to be awesome for Kanye. All he has to do is not praise Hitler.
Yeah.
And so, like with that premise, or like Sean Weatherspoon, he's going to be a star at Nike, right?
Yeah,
like,
he's gonna be a star at Nike.
And I wrote down joke after joke after that, and I did not break kayfabe until this very moment about it. Right?
Yeah.
But that was like one of my least listened to episodes because people probably thought, oh, this is some old episode, skip.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But creativity, my creative side, I had so much fun with that one. So it
Yeah.
doesn't matter that if it did lower numbers than the other ones, because like I said, I don't care about the algorithm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I do a lot of number crunching, but like just to see if there's any growth. Not to the point where I'm like, oh, we should go this direction because we got more listeners on this one, or we should stop doing this because we got less listeners on that. Because that was the thing, kind of like our unspoken agreement. I know Morgan really doesn't want a direction. Like, I can have that direction. I can kind of maneuver or manipulate where I want us to go, but I know he doesn't want like a set. This is what we do. This is what we do. This is what we do.
Yeah.
Like the PTI 2 minutes per topic.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. He
Yeah,
loses
I like.
interest.
I just wanna ramble. I'm gonna be real with you. I want to yap. I want to sound profound and really say nothing. That is like, if I could do that for an hour and a half,
Every episode, buddy. You just
perfect.
don't know it. But
It's like I sound like I'm really deep in thought, but I really just BS'd.
I'm probably sleeping.
Bro, we recorded at 10, bro.
But yeah, so we appreciate you hopping on, man. Guys, that's our episode for the week. And as I always say, peace, love, and sneakers.
So brothers, so brothers, retro 7s, retro 3s, metallic 7, retro 11, sitting on freeze, they got so